like a lady, yeah. It's the moment that Cause girl, don't you know? Girl, don't you know? I see myself being with another girl. Work till you're tired, got to provide. I can take you out sometime, yeah. So let's exchange digits and girl, I know this might seem strange. If you believe you'll do better, if I never knew the girl next door would be. The answer is yes. I'll still think love. I love you, girl.
Musiq Soulchild isn't who you think he is. For most people, he was the smooth voice behind some of the most iconic R&B love songs of the early 2000s. The shades, the soul, the slow jams that could make anyone catch feelings. He seemed untouchable, like the kind of artist who just had it. But what if that version of him was never real? What if the guy singing about love, honesty, and connection was secretly battling demons the whole time? Because while fans were falling in love with his voice, music was quietly falling apart. He didn't want the spotlight. He didn't even want to be famous. He wanted to sing. That's it. No red carpets, no flashy branding, just music. But the industry had other plans. And when he finally gave in to fame, it came at a price no one saw coming. The crazy part? When things got hard, he didn't just switch up his sound, he changed everything. His name, his voice, his entire identity, and the result wasn't some bold artistic breakthrough. It was a career freefall that made him almost unrecognizable. So what really happened to Musiq Soulchild? Was he a misunderstood genius ahead of his time? Or did he throw away the very thing that made him special? Let's break it down. Before the platinum records, before the alter egos, before the industry drama, there was just a kid from Philly who loved to sing. Born Talib Johnson, Musiq Soulchild didn't come up chasing clout or fantasizing about superstardom. He was raised on soul, the kind that hits you in the chest. Donny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye, James Brown. That's the world he grew up in, and it shaped everything. He wasn't some industry plant or manufactured image. In Philly, they called him the Music Boy, a nickname that stuck because he was always singing. Open mic nights, street corners, anywhere he could. He didn't care about labels or Billboard charts. He just wanted to move people. And here's the thing, his talent, undeniable. That voice wasn't trained in some studio. It was raw, real, and full of soul. Eventually, people started paying attention. By the late 90s, word had spread, and he landed a deal with Def Soul in 1999. Then came his debut album, I Just Wanna Sing. And just like that, the world met Musiq Soulchild. His sound was different, a blend of hip-hop rhythm and old-school soul. It wasn't trendy, it wasn't manufactured, it was authentic. And people felt that. Songs like Just Friends, Sunny, and Love hit different. You weren't just hearing R&B, you were hearing emotion. The album went platinum. He wasn't just some underground artist anymore. He was a full-blown R&B star. No gimmicks, no viral moments, just talent, pure and simple. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because while music was blowing up, something else was happening behind the scenes. And it was about to change everything. From the outside, Musiq Soulchild looked like he had it all figured out. Platinum albums, chart-topping singles, respect from legends. But behind the sunglasses and love songs, things were unraveling fast. The truth? He was spiraling. Even at the height of his success, Musiq was battling severe alcoholism. Not the party too hard on tour kind, the kind that nearly ended everything before it even truly began. While fans were falling in love with his voice, Musiq was struggling to stay standing. And here's the part no one saw coming. His addiction got so bad, he suffered a full-on nervous breakdown. It wasn't some dramatic PR headline, it was real. He ended up hospitalized, not for exhaustion, not for stress, but because his body and mind were breaking under the weight of it all. And in that hospital bed, with his career hanging by a thread, he made a promise. If he got another shot, really got another chance to do this right, he'd stop playing around. He'd take his career seriously. He'd clean up. No more self-destruction. And to his credit, he did. He bounced back with the fire in him. Dropped Juice Listen, which also went platinum, kept the momentum going with Soulstar. His blend of neo-soul and hip-hop continued to set him apart. And fans couldn't get enough. But here's the thing about fame. It doesn't heal you. It magnifies everything. And even though music was on top of the world again, something inside him still didn't feel right. The industry loved him, but he never loved the industry. And as time went on, that disconnect started to show. Because when the spotlight shifted and the charts started changing, music didn't just evolve. He transformed into someone no one recognized. By the late 2000s, the music landscape was changing, and not in Musiq Soulchild's favor. R&B wasn't the cultural juggernaut it once was. The sound that dominated the early 2000s was fading, replaced by more electronic, trap-influenced beats. Streaming was starting to take over. Radio wasn't playing soul anymore. The vibe had shifted, and artists like Musiq were feeling the pressure. His 2008 album, On My Radio, still had gems, but the magic was starting to slip. For the first time in his career, his album didn't go platinum or even gold. The fanbase that once clung to every word, starting to drift. And behind closed doors, Musiq knew it. The bookings were slowing down, the radio spins were drying up. R&B purists still loved him, but the mainstream, it was moving on. Now, most artists in this spot tried to course correct, tweak the sound, link up with hot producers, maybe do a feature with a younger artist. But Musiq didn't do that. He went way further. Instead of evolving his style, he abandoned it completely. He didn't just switch his sound, he changed his entire identity. And what he transformed into, let's just say no one saw it coming. So picture this. One day, you're listening to the smooth, honey-coated vocals of Musiq Soulchild, and the next he pops up wearing black leather, face half covered by a scarf, rapping through autotune under a brand new name. Who even is this? That's what fans were asking in 2014 when Musiq Soulchild introduced The Hustle, a completely new alter ego that no one asked for, and no one really understood. Gone was the soulful crooner with love ballads and emotional depth. In his place, a futuristic masked figure trying to sound like a bargain bin future. The autotune was heavy. The bars were questionable, and the aesthetic, full cyber street rapper cosplay. The worst part, he was serious. This wasn't a parody, he wasn't trolling. Musiq went all in. He dropped a full mixtape under The Hustle, followed by an EP. He started doing interviews in character, and while he called it creative expression, fans were left wondering, why would one of R&B's most beloved voices throw all of that away? For this? And critics? They didn't hold back. People roasted him, hard. Some said he sounded like T-Pain if the battery died halfway through. Others said it was a midlife crisis caught on tape. But here's the real question. Why did he do this? Was it really about creativity? Or was something deeper going on? Because no artist goes from Grammy-nominated ballads to auto-tune trap experiments without a reason. And when Musiq finally opened up about it, the truth was even more shocking than fans expected. At first, Musiq Soulchild tried to play it cool. He said, The Hustle was just a creative outlet, another side of him he wanted to explore, a passion project. Artistic freedom. But as the backlash kept piling up and the confusion turned into full-on criticism, he eventually dropped the act and got real. In an interview with This Is 50, he admitted it. The real reason he created The Hustle? He wasn't making money as Musiq Soulchild anymore. Yep, the same guy who once had platinum plaques and radio hits couldn't get booked like he used to. His shows were drying up, The industry had changed, and the demand for classic R&B just wasn't there anymore. So what did he do? He tried to adapt, fast. Instead of fighting to stay relevant in a shrinking R&B lane, he pivoted hard. He thought if he could rebrand himself as a more modern artist, he could tap into a younger, hip-hop-driven crowd, more club gigs, more festival stages, more checks. The logic made sense on paper, but in reality, he didn't gain a new audience. He alienated the one he already had. People who had grown up on his love songs, who felt seen by his lyrics, suddenly felt abandoned. It was like your favorite soul food spot suddenly started selling microwave burritos and calling it innovation. And just when fans thought the chaos had peaked, Musiq Soulchild tried it again. So you'd think after the hustle flopped, Musiq Soulchild would have hit the brakes, recalibrated, maybe even gone back to what made people fall in love with him in the first place. But nope, he doubled down. Introducing Purple Wonderlove. Yeah, that's not a band name, that's what he called himself. This time, instead of futuristic trap vibes, he pivoted into some kind of psychedelic funk soul fusion. Think Prince meets Andre 3000, if they were going through an identity crisis. Gone were the leather masks and rap bars. In their place, flowing scarves, cosmic energy, and songs that sounded like they were trying to channel a spirit realm no one asked to visit. He dropped an EP called The Eternal Peace under this new persona, and just like before, no one cared. There was no buzz, no hits, no viral moment, just a collective. Wait, who is this supposed to be? At this point, fans weren't just confused, they were frustrated. Because here's the thing, Musiq Soulchild had one of the most distinct, emotionally rich voices in R&B. He didn't need gimmicks. He didn't need alter egos. He was the moment, until he kept trying to become someone else. And what made it worse? He couldn't even commit. One minute he was hyping up the hustle. The next he was Purple Wonderlove. Then out of nowhere, he was just Musiq Soulchild again. It was like watching an artist in an identity spin cycle, rebranding himself over and over with no real direction. And fans? They were done playing along. Because reinvention works when there's a vision, when it feels intentional. But with music, it didn't feel bold. It felt lost. And just like that, his credibility took a hit he might never fully recover from. After 2 identity swaps, public confusion, and career freefall, Musiq Soulchild finally did the one thing fans had been begging him to do from the start. Drop the costumes, ditch the alter egos, and just be Musiq Soulchild again. In 2016, he released Life on Earth, a return-to-form R&B album that felt like a deep breath. The lead single, I Do, brought back the signature soul and vulnerability fans missed. No auto-tune, no weird aliases, just him. And surprisingly, it worked. The single climbed to number 11 on the R&B charts. Not a chart-topping smash, but enough to remind people, oh right, this man still has it. Then in 2017, he doubled down with Feel the Real, a 24-track double album that earned him something he hadn't seen in years. A Grammy nomination. Yeah, after all that, he was finally being recognized again by the industry. For a moment, it looked like the comeback was real. But here's the harsh truth. Even with the Grammy nod, the damage was already done. The industry had moved on. Streaming platforms were dominated by trap soul and genre-blending artists. The new R&B wave had a different sound, a different aesthetic, and a different generation running it. Names like Bryson Tiller, SZA, Summer Walker, they were the moment now. Musiq wasn't just trying to catch up. He was trying to reclaim a seat at a table that had already been reassembled without him. And while the voice was still there, the momentum wasn't. He had re-entered the conversation, but he wasn't leading it. Still, something was shifting. Fans who had written him off were starting to pay attention again. The industry wasn't fully embracing him, but it also wasn't ignoring him anymore. He was back in the mix, but was it too little, too late? Just when people thought Musiq Soulchild had fully faded into R&B history, he got one last shot at reminding everyone why his name ever mattered. February 2022. Verzus. Musiq Soulchild versus Anthony Hamilton. It wasn't just a battle, it was a moment. Two legends, two different styles, one stage. For Musiq, this was more than nostalgia, it was redemption. A chance to prove that despite the detours and missteps, the voice, the catalog, the legacy, it was still there. And when he started running through classics like Love, Just Friends, Half Crazy, and Teach Me, something shifted. Twitter lit up. TikTok rediscovered him. The comments poured in. He never got the flowers he deserved. Musiq Soulchild's pen is insane. That voice aged like wine. For a few hours, it felt like the world remembered what made him great in the first place. But of course, it wasn't perfect. Some fans noticed his vocals were a little off. Not bad, but not as sharp as they used to be. Others said Anthony Hamilton had the tighter performance, more polished, more energy. And then there was the awkward moment when Musiq, mid-performance, got visibly frustrated and told his DJ to get it together. On livestream, it threw off the vibe. It reminded people of the same erratic energy that had followed him for years. Still, the impact was undeniable. He might not have won the Verzus, but he won back a lot of respect. The question was, what now? Would he use that momentum to launch a real comeback? Or was this just another nostalgic flash before fading back into the shadows? After everything, the platinum plaques, the breakdowns, the alter egos, the comeback attempts, you'd think Musiq Soulchild might just disappear quietly into R&B history. But nope. In 2023, he surprised everyone again. This time, not with a costume or a new persona, but with an album, a real one. He teamed up with Hit Boy, the hitmaker behind Nas, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and dropped Victims and Villains. The vibe? A modern twist on classic soul. Clean production, real songwriting, and a matured version of the voice that once ruled the charts. Songs like I Remember You My Ex proved his pen was still sharp and the emotion? Still there. It wasn't a mainstream smash. It didn't chart like his early records. But it felt honest. No gimmicks, no confusion. Just Musiq doing what he does best, singing from the heart. And at this point, that seems to be the whole point. He's not chasing trends anymore, not trying to compete with artists half his age. He's building his own lane, collaborating behind the scenes, mentoring new talent, making music for the people who still ride with him, no matter what name he's using. So where does that leave Musiq Soulchild? Well, not quite at the top, but definitely not forgotten. He might not be selling out arenas or dominating radio, but he's still here, still creating, still reminding the world, in his own quiet way, that true artistry doesn't always come with chart positions. And in an industry that chews up and spits out artists the second their moment fades, maybe that is the real win. But let's be real. After all the reinventions, the missteps, the moments of magic and confusion, was Musiq Soulchild a victim of an industry that moved on too fast? Or did he sabotage himself chasing something he never really needed to? Let me know what you think in the comments.